Welcome to Fortress of Faith with Tom Wallace, calling North America to repentance and revival.
Well, we're back once again at the corner of truth and courage. Thank you for joining us here today at Fortress of Faith. Yesterday, on Tuesday, there was a preemptive attack by Israel on Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a terrorist organization that is an arm of Iran. There's really not much hidden about that, but they still sometimes pretend that this isn't Iran. But you're going to see today that there's a close connection with Iran by this attack. And what Israel was able to do was nothing short of a miracle. How they struck and how they attacked and hit nearly 3,000 soldiers, operatives of Hezbollah, in the way they did it, it's almost like a Mission Impossible type of story. And maybe one day I'm going to be making some speculations of how they did this, because we don't really know. But there seems to be some things coming in already, and I'll share it with you. But you will kind of, maybe be like me, like, wow, that's amazing how they did that. And so I'm going to open that up here in a moment. Before we do, let me quickly remind you that we're making an appeal to our listeners to join us in support on a monthly basis in what we call the Army of 10. The Army of 10 is just simply an army of people who support on a monthly basis of $10 a month. Now, most do it by giving from a bank card. We can set that up for you by a simple phone call, and we can get that started. Or you can go online and do it yourself at fortressoffaith.com, fortressoffaith.com. Just click on the area that says, make this a recurring donation. And now most people, $10, they won't miss it. Most of us could give that a month, and we won't even know it was gone. Now, for some, that may not be the case, and I honestly believe there are some people who do donate to us there, and they make it, they donate, and even though it's a sacrifice, it's important to them what we do, to support what we do. And I really want to encourage you to consider partnering with us at this area of being a donor of $10 a month, part of the Army of 10. And now another way, maybe you're old school and you want to give by check. You don't do cards and all that kind of stuff. I get that. My mom's that way, okay? And there's a lot of people that way out there. And if that's the case, we'll be glad to send you envelopes so that you don't have to write out the envelopes and everything else, and you can kind of keep a record. Okay, well, I've got this month envelope to send, and so on there. So it helps you keep record of that. And so if you would give us a call, we'll be glad to set that up. The number's 800-616-0082. That's 800-616-0082. Well, things in Israel escalated back in July. Of course, now Hezbollah has been firing rockets into Israel since the Hamas attack on the southern border back in October 7th, which we're coming close to a year since that happened. And so Hezbollah has been, attacking Israel, and sometimes they attack hard. But back in July, they sent missiles into the Golan Heights. And one of their missiles struck a playing field where children were playing soccer and killed 12 children. Now, these children, although Israeli citizens, were actually Arabs. They actually hit and attacked Arabs, and these people were of the Druze faith. Israel retaliated, and they pinpointed a strike against the commander of Hezbollah's army and took out Fuad Shukr on July the 30th, 2024, in his room in Beirut. Now, what's interesting is that the United States have been after this guy for many, many years. They had a $5 million bounty on his head. He was involved in the 1983 attack on the barracks, the Marine barracks, which killed 241 U.S. soldiers. So America wanted him dead. And what's interesting is that, Israel could pinpoint where he was and took him out in a surgical attack like that. And then, 24 hours later, they took out Hamas's chief leader, Ismail Haniyeh, while he was in Iran as a guest there in one of their guest houses. Israel had planted a bomb there. I mean, this is Mission Impossible kind of stuff. And they snuck a bomb in there without being detected. And when he was staying there that night, it took him out and his bodyguard. It's amazing what Israel has been able to do in their fight against the terrorist attacks that are hitting at them. So this escalation happened back in July when Hezbollah shot those rockets. And Benjamin Netanyahu warned Iran, warned Hezbollah, and said, listen, stop the war with us. We have weapons you know nothing about. Now, I remember him saying that, and I was scratching my head trying to think, what is he talking about? What do you mean, weapons we don't know, that nobody knows about? Now we got an idea of what he meant. And Israel launched a preemptive attack, knowing they've been waiting for days for Hezbollah to come. And, this has been on the books here for a while. And apparently they, I'm assuming they must have known it's coming soon. We've got to slow them down. We've got to strike. We've got to do something. So this weapon that nobody knew about struck today, or rather yesterday, on Tuesday, and injured, maimed, wounded over 2,700 people. At first, the reports were about 3,000, but it's just shy of 3,000. Early reports were saying 20 were dead. Now 9 are dead as a result of it. Now, one of the wounded, which is interesting, is the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon. He was wounded. How do these people get targeted? They were all wearing pagers. Now, some of you don't know what a pager is. You're not from that generation, but I remember back when I was a kid. I was in Bible college, and a friend and we started a delivery business, and we invested $600 into a pager. That was like, spending $2,000 in today's money. So that was expensive for this piece of equipment. But it's a way that we could print, leaflets and put them at businesses and call us and while we're out working. And instead of, waiting on that just hitting an answering machine, we could call them back quickly, by their number being on our pager. And we'd have to find a phone somewhere. We didn't have cell phones back then, my friends. But anyhow, pagers are low-tech pieces of equipment. And Hamas was using them as a way to communicate with their operatives around the country so that they couldn't be tracked like a cell phone or the Internet and all that. So pagers were being used. Well, apparently, first I was writing, as in yesterday's when I was writing my letter or my piece on this. And by the way, if we don't have your email and you want to receive our newsletter, go to our website, fortressoffaith.com, and sign up for our newsletter. And we'll add you to our weekly newsletter, and it just keeps you informed of things like this, events and news and articles that we have written. So Hezbollah was using these pagers, and I think they bought them from Malaysia. Apparently, Israel intercepted them, planted a explosive device in all of them, and they were carried on back into the country, into Lebanon there, and all these operatives were wearing them, not knowing that they were placing on their hips a bomb from those who they're trying to destroy. And so Israel probably could track the communications that was coming through these pagers so that they would know what's being said, but also, too, not only track the communications with the punch of a number, they could take out as many people as were wearing these thousands of pagers, these communication devices. I've never heard of anything like this before. I mean, I think if anyone who studies warfare, the art of warfare, and how to fight your enemy and how to strike a blow at them there, I mean, this probably has got to be put down as one of the most ingenious ways to fight your enemy. And, it's almost like reading from Mission Impossible. I don't think any of these thriller writers could even imagine stuff like this. And what I find interesting about all of this, here's my takeaway, and perhaps it's one thing for you to take away as well. It seems like Israel, even though they really do not possess a mass of weaponry and stuff, they've thank God that they are backed by countries like the United States and England and others, but they have very little to protect. They have very land mass, and the people that want them destroyed are great in number and mighty in ability, and yet Israel is able, with pinpoint accuracy, to fight and serve a blow at their enemy. It's amazing when you try to consider how in the world did Israel survive its early days in the 1948 war. They were attacked on all sides. They were attacked, by Lebanon, by Syria, by Iraq, by Jordan, by Egypt, by Saudi Arabia. And they sent in their armies, and Israel wasn't even, a day old. And yet Israel was able to come out on top and not only win that war, but win it soundly. And when they were attacked in 1967 in the Six-Day War, and then also the Yom Kippur War of 1973, each of these times Israel should have been destroyed, but somehow not only do they survive, they win, and they win handsomely. It seems to be that there is someone from up above keeping an eye out for them. And for them to do the strike that they just did and not be detected and for it to be successful the way it was is, again, a piece of mastery. And so, as I said, there must be someone above keeping an eye out for them, and yes, there is. The Bible refers to this one as Jehovah God. He has many names, and one of his names is El Elohim, my strong protector. And the protector of Israel is protecting the one he made a covenant with. Well, that's going to be it for today. Join us again tomorrow at the Corner of Truth and Courage. God bless you.